Texting, hey, it happens all the time, as common as telephone calls. And like telephone calls, it is protected, the communication is protected under the Fourth Amendment, giving you privacy in your personal matters, your home, your communication. All right, but what happens? You know, does it always work that way? Are you completely secure in those messages that you text? How about people under 18 years of age? Well, that takes us to this week's case. Involves a young man in high school who proceeds to text a good friend of his and says, hey, I've had it with this school, had it all the way around, I've just had it, and I'm going to buy a gun and I'm going to go in and shoot a bunch of kids. All right. Friend gets text. Friend writes back to him, some exchange in that communication. Friends' parents become aware of the communication, alert the school. School, acting upon this information from a parent, a reliable source, notifies the police. The police then get a search warrant. They obtain the text messages, and kid who wrote these text messages, big deal problem. Wound up being suspended from school for a long period of time. Okay. He was really upset. His parents were really upset. Okay, this was just, you know, a text message. Let's not get carried away here. And plus the fact it was a text message that should have remained private. Okay, they brought suit against the school and said you can't have any disciplinary action against this kid because it's violative of his civil rights. And they brought what in federal law is referred to as a 1983 action, which says you violated my civil rights. My right, in this instance, to be secure in my communications, my telephone calls, etc., and my text messages. School said, wait a second. Granted, we got that information, and granted, we used it to go to the police, and granted, the police then proceeded to do an additional investigation, but at the end of the day, we had a reasonable basis upon which to do that. And the reasonable basis was that this, one, was a very serious threat, two, that we had information coming from a responsible and reliable adult, the parents of the friend, and that gave us the basis to go forward as we did and attempt to obtain, through the police, the actual text messages, and our knowledge of those text messages in no way deprived him, the kid, of his civil rights. The case went to federal court, as it would, and in federal court, judge looked at it and said, school district, you're right, you're right. Serious threat. In this instance, you had reliable information that came from a responsible adult, and you acted reasonably. Okay, so what's the point of this case? What is the point of this case? Well, one of the points of the case is your text messages may not always be private. You have to be aware of what that subject matter is, and you have to deal with them as you would with any other confidential information and not distribute them necessarily to the entire world if that is a concern that you have. The other message I think that this case gives us is don't do stupid things. When you do stupid things, bad things happen. And in this instance, kid, granted young kid, was writing a message which had really bad news connotations. It was stupid for him to do that. He got into big deal trouble. Well, that's not a new lesson. We all know that. We all as little kids should have learned that lesson a long time ago. But we also want to show how in the real world things play out with modern technology and how the law really works. We do this every week, so you understand how the law works. I'm David Allen.